I'm mighty delighted to join you all as we come together to celebrate India's most admired workplaces. Now, we're talking about those workplaces that manage to redefine what it really means to create culture, care, clarity, and commitment. And that being said, we're now about to get the program started. We're about to do that with a befitting keynote coming your way, which is all about celebrating talent, which is also the core of every organization and the reason behind every innovation.
For any idea to fructify and sustain over a period of time, it has to be politically acceptable, socially desirable, technologically feasible, financially viable, administratively doable, judicially tenable, emotionally relatable, and environmentally sustainable. Quite a handful, no? It's very difficult to make these ideas happen both in the public and the private sector. When I say politically acceptable, I don't mean acceptance by a politician. It means acceptance by your boss, the decision maker, whoever that decision maker is. If you are unable to package those ideas in a manner that it becomes acceptable to your boss, then no matter how great an idea you may have, it won't travel any distance. Your competence is determined by your ability to convince not only your boss, but all your stakeholders into believing what you want them to believe. If that doesn't happen, no matter how great an idea you may have, it will not work on the ground. So you have to equip yourself with what you have. Technology can be a great help in that, but technology is only an instrument. It is a facilitator. Human beings are the most important beings to my mind. And again, unfortunately in government, there aren't very many motivational tools available to motivate your team.
We're about to deep dive into a panel discussion that focuses on a very pertinent question. Are traditional career paths losing relevance?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how irrelevant do you feel traditional careers are becoming?
Yeah, so it will be around 4.
Okay.
So when we were studying, there was a career, very defined once you are entering in 12th standard. So whether you are taking mathematics or biology, you are becoming doctor or engineer, or you want to go for civil services later on, management, MBA and business administration started. But today, I don't think the new generation or even organization is looking for a career. So career is not linear at all. So this is the age of multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary a lot.
In the next 3 to 4 years from now, the faster the kids learn it, I'm young by the way when I call them kids, the faster they learn it, and if you're slower at learning it, that's what traditional career paths will do to any one of us. So relevance, irrelevance for each one of us to decide, but I very strongly believe that I think those the traditional career paths are not the in-game for tomorrow.
Very interesting. But I'm very linear, Beena, so I'm still going to force you on a number.
You said 1 was the...
Is traditional paths are very relevant, and 10 is completely irrelevant.
Then I'm going to switch on to the 8 to the 9, which is...
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's an incredible view. I've never heard that strong a view. Archana, what's your take?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would rate it somewhere around 7 to 8.
Okay.
What I'm meaning by traditional careers, and as we've understood also, is that we are referring to those careers where the vertical growth was there and in an area. But what we see now, there are 2 big forces that I'm able to see. One force is the technology, AI, and that is bringing disruption. Another is our own children. The generation which is coming in is wanting a portfolio, and the tendencies are more towards like that. So these are the 2 big forces I'm seeing that is defining.
Thank you so much, Ravi, Beena, Archana, and thank you so much, audience, for your participation. Grateful to ETH. I hope all of you had some takeaways. Thank you so much.
That being said, for decades, we've constantly asked, what can machines do? And today, of course, we also have a more interesting question. What can humans only do? And that brings us to a very interesting theme, which is all about the human edge in an AI world and what will really define the workforce of tomorrow.
From a CHRO's lens, what will separate the workforce of tomorrow? Is it technical proficiency? Do you think it will be creativity, emotional intelligence, or the ability to continually adapt?
See, the proficiency is something that AI is catching up very fast. Today, creativity also is being done by AI much more efficiently than what we are seeing. EQ also, somewhere we are finding that people are taking assistance of AI to deal with the EQ because a lot of coaching is being done by AI today. What remains is the whole adaptability piece, and I'm not taking away that AI is not adapting, it is learning very, very fast in this era. But the fact is that if people are able to adapt and change very quickly, that remains something which is very human-related rather than AI-related. And if we are able to harness that as a potential skill for people, then there is something which is differentiating us from the AI.
Let's talk about how do you think leaders can balance this innovation across various parameters that you already have and still build a workforce that feels empowered rather than feeling replaced?
We don't want to position AI as something where people will think that they're losing their jobs, right? That's not the intention. I think what we have done consciously as the leadership team is to say that, it is only there to bring in more efficiency in the system, right? And, and I'm sure it's there for a lot of organizations, but the tools that we have created using AI is only to bring in efficiency in processes so that people can focus on more strategic work. Objective is to ensure that a lot of this repetitive task where, people have to spend a lot of time actually goes and people can focus on more strategic work, right?
On that note, thank you very much for being with me. I hope the room enjoyed the way we enjoyed our stage too. Thank you.
Moving forward and taking that discussion, I feel that every discussion that we're witnessing over here is a segue to the next as well, which is why we're focusing now on the AI equation as to how technology and AI are changing job roles.
Are we seeing scientists getting upskilled on some of these, the more data analytics aspects, or are they still preferring to work in their, more traditional legacy ways?
I'll give you a simple example. We recently launched a Digital Excellence Academy for the whole organization. It was as simple as running co-pilot trainings across the organization. Only the fact that a common training like that, we saw a 43% jump in the users that were actually using co-pilot to do something beyond just asking a question. Right. Now, something as simple as this generates enthusiasm. You have to sustain it. And like I said, in the R&D world, if you're not able to understand, data analytics is one part of it, but in the workflow, where does it fit? It's not the next new fashion or the next technology that you're implementing because it is the most happening thing in the world, but does it make sense for you?
Wonderful, and I'd like to open this up. Yeah, absolutely, Prashant, please
I'd like
go
to
ahead.
add to what Puneet said rightly. I think that's the role of HR people in the future.
Yeah.
And I spoke about the model part. How do we create organization platforms to collaborate? How do we create incentive systems which will enable them to use the tool better? Okay, that's the role of HR.
Absolutely. Totally agree, yeah. Now, and would love to hear your views as well on the skilling part in particular, because I'm sure it's a big initiative across all your organizations.
I see two sets of employees now in any company. And the terms which we are using right now is, there is one set of employees where there is a clear, lazy use of AI. And then there's a second set of people which is a smart use of AI. Lazy use of AI is simple, that I'm supposed to draft a mail, I just put a prompt which I've been trained on, I get an output, and the remaining 20 minutes maybe I'm wasting. Smart use of AI is that I have follow-up prompts, I have more thinking which goes into defining the final output. So that is one of the key trend which I'm seeing, and I think as organization we need to ensure that there is more smart use of AI which happens on the ground.
So in terms of upskilling, I would like to make a demo of which skills are important and which skills AI can take. These are job skills. These are your cerebral skills, problem solving, conflict handling, negotiation, etc. These are your EQ skills, ethics as you mentioned, integrity, people handling, all of these. So which ones do you think AI will do better and faster than us? This one. right? The job skills.
Yeah.
Where A leads to B is a very clear answer. So when we talk of upskilling, we really need to focus on enabling this, empowering this, and these skills, critical thinking, conflict solving, conflict handling, negotiation skills, communication skills, solving complex problems. So we would rather focus on empowering, enabling, and investing in giving skills to people which AI cannot do. And AI, as such, AI can also teach humans how to use it, utility-wise. So I don't think we need to spend extra time to teach people how to use AI above the basics.
It's now time for me to also introduce to all of you our guest of honor who's joining us this afternoon, also to felicitate the best organizations. But before we march ahead, it's only befitting that we also get to hear from him, considering that we have an experience of over 4 decades of leadership that we're looking at. So please put your hands together to welcome on stage none other than Mr. Rajnikant Patel.
When we look at the topography, where we see, look at the entire business development happening, the way we have used technology. In my 40 years of career, I am recalling in 1980s what was happening in banking industry when banks got nationalized and they were computerized. Today, we can't imagine a single transaction without digital banking. Imagine going to the bank branch, giving your check, getting a token, waiting for the teller being called by and then having your withdrawal of cash. Today we have changed. In those days, there was a lot of anxiety about losing of a job due to computerization. A lot of unionism, a lot of government policies. People were worried that the entire banking industry would see a huge loss of jobs. What happened today, we know. Data says that banking industry has manifold grown in terms of number of opportunities, number of openings, and it has grown to be international, connected, and we all carry our bank in our pocket. Today, if you look at EV, first thing electric vehicle, we have a range anxiety, even if the car is supposed to give you 500-kilometer range on a full charge. We are now having AI anxiety. Everybody is suffering from that. Oh, what's going to happen? Yeah, at the front end, we heard about the panel, one of the panels, that front-end staff and the strategic one. Yes, things will change. It is going to be transformed in terms of the way we work, the way we operate, we live in that environment, and finally, the way we think.
With that, what we are now about to do really quick is, first up, have our guest of honor unveil the Coffee Table Book. The Coffee Table Book actually captures the stories and the best practices of the organizations that have made it to the Best Organizations to Work 2026. So I'm going to request you, at the click of the button, we'll unveil the Coffee Table Book. So please go ahead, sir. Let's have you click the button of the remote. With that, now we're about to set the stage. We're about to move ahead to another very important segment of the program, because while we are all here to honor the Best Organizations to Work 2026, it is also important for us to understand what was the process, what was the methodology behind the selection criteria, the selection process, all that and more. Which is why what we're about to do is deep dive a little more. We're going to make it a little more insightful for all of you, and we're going to do that in the form of our research partner, Median, joining us to share a little more thoughts on this.
We first set some very basic eligibility criterion. The large organizations are needed to have been operating in India for at least 5 years, while the startup needed to be operating for at least 3 years as on June 2026. We also looked at evidence for strong products and services and a positive impact in the industry. While on the scale, we had a turnover cutoff was 100 crore rupees for the large organizations, and for the startups, it's 25 crores. To explain the overall scoring methodology, the eligible organizations were first identified. Scoring was done in 3 different stages. The first one, we have selected the evaluation parameters and assigned a weight to each of them. The second, we have collected the relevant information through desk research. And finally, we rated every organizations on those parameters and calculated a weighted index score. Thank you very much. Here I conclude and wishing you all the best.
We're about to begin with the felicitations for the Best Organizations to Work 2026. J. Kumar Infra Projects Limited. We have a round of applause as well, as we also congratulate J. Kumar Infra Projects Limited. I'd like to please invite the team to please come on stage. The next organization, let's also hear it for Agilitium Consulting, ladies and gentlemen. The next organization to be felicitated is Karamtara Engineering Limited. Next organization, Synthite Industries Private Limited. Now we're about to felicitate Sonata Software Limited, Timex Group India Limited,
I believe that the future of workplaces is not about managing generations differently. It is about creating an environment where every generation feels valued, continues to learn, and is empowered to contribute to a larger shared purpose. You need to create that kind of organization where there is frequent communication, transparent leadership, and celebrating achievements, which actually will build stronger engagement across generations.
Well, I feel organizations are built by people, and it's very important that how do you connect with them, the trust that you develop with them, which comes over the years, of course, and it's the working environment, the value of humans that's been very important for any employee to retain in the company, and where his achievements, his things which are needed to be recognized are very importantly seen, recognized, appreciated is the factor I feel to retain a person in the organization and where he can see his growth going forward. Well, I feel every employee gives maximum part of his life and day-to-day basis time to the organization where he should feel he's at home. The workplace should be comfortable for him, where he feels at peace, and where he can fully contribute to the organization, which is not only by the good working space that is being provided by the organization, but it also comes in with the trust.
We do not segregate by generations. There's no divide by generations. Through our own model called FDX, a forward deployment experience that we have put in place, we treat pretty much all the generation employees in the same way. Put them into a room, give them the opportunity to voice out, where the experience bring in the knowledge that they have, where the Gen Zs bring in the innovation capability through what they have gone through. So all these together come and deliver for the purpose that we have built the organization for.
Leadership is about creating an environment where people feel respected, trusted, and confident in what they are doing. Trust doesn't come from words alone. It comes from being transparent, stay consistent, and leading by example. When employees know They are heard and supported, they take greater ownership of their work and are more willing to contribute new ideas. At the same time, engagement is built by giving people opportunities to learn, grow, and work together towards a common goal. Employee well being is equally important because people perform their best when they feel valued, supported, and have the right balance to succeed. Attracting talent is no longer just about offering a good salary. People today look for organizations where they can build a meaningful career, learn continuously, and be a part of something that is growing.
A strong and sustainable workplace culture is built on trust, transparency, and genuine commitment to people. Employees thrive when they feel they are respected, included, and connected to a larger organizational purpose. Organizations must invest consistently in learning and development, giving people skills and wings to perform their best beyond their current roles. Structures growth path such as GET program show young talent that leadership is a realistic destination. Most importantly, culture should be reflected in everyday actions and leadership behavior, empowering people to perform their best.
In today's workplace, skills and capabilities far outweighs the degrees and qualifications that one possesses. It's important in today's environment for people to learn and unlearn and relearn. Because of the changing scenarios out there, it is important for people to have the unique skill to be able to adapt to the changing situations, which naturally comes with people who have the skill and capabilities to be flexible.
I now invite the next organization, and let's felicitate Persistent Systems. RACL Gear Tech Limited. Global Logic, ladies and gentlemen, that's also being felicitated. Ladies and gentlemen, let's also hear it for Arteria. Chirapal Group to please come on stage as well. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and your presence. Can we have a huge round of applause one more time to thank Shri Anil Swaroop. Thank you very much, sir, for felicitating the Best Organizations to Work 2026.
There are two most important aspects that Persistent very well recognizes. The first one is growth, and the second one is flexibility. From the perspective of flexibility, when you are able to, work in a flexible environment, it makes you as an employee much more positive and inculcates a positive culture. Secondly, in terms of growth, it's very important to diversify the way that you grow different cohorts. At Persistent, we have Persistent's Digital Engineering Academy that creates personalized and curated growth paths for each individual that helps them grow.
I think in today's organization, there are three kinds of workforce who are coming in. One is, of course, the Gen Z, the millennials and the Gen Alpha. All of them for the first time are working together. So the Gen Zs are wanting entrepreneurial freedom even at the start of their career, which is first time such people are entering the workforce. Millennials, of course, across the years have built into the middle management, and they are seeking a more autonomy towards their organizational independence. And the Gen Alpha are, of course, reached to a level wherein they would want to manage them with a sense of purpose. So the successful organizations today are able to adapt in terms of giving a culture wherein all learn from each other is where I feel that organizations today have to bring in that edge.
One of the biggest messages that I give to employees, and something that we imbibe and embed in our people strategy, is also to be a skills first company. So when we call ourselves as an AI first, people first company, AI is also a skill. To be able to use AI, understand AI for the purpose of digital transformation. So skills is the most important currency, and it's going to be the most important currency even for the future, the coming future and the long-term future.
In Arteria, leadership is pretty simple, which is called
empathy, listening, and that's the two things which we continue to practice. We encourage our leaders to, do these two things rather than, going through a lot complex way. So we believe in saying that, you got to build the trust, which leads to engagement, that gives a well-being, and then that transforms into, performance.
Today's workforce brings together different generations and each has unique strengths and expectations. At Chiripal Group, we often say that we are young but experienced. Our focus is on creating a culture where people have purpose, opportunities to learn, and flexibility to grow. We value experience, encourage fresh ideas, and believe the best innovation happens when generations learn from each other. When people feel respected and empowered, organizations build stronger teams and are better prepared for the future.